I remember the way her voice trembled, not fear, urgency. "Is he home right now?" she asked. I glanced at the man sitting in my living room, legs stretched out, beer in hand, watching TV as though he owned the world. "Yes," I replied, forcing calm. Her whisper cut like glass. "That can't be true. Because I'm looking at him. He just boarded my flight. He's holding another woman's hand. They're on their way to Paris." And then, the door behind me opened. Backstory set up. He wasn't always a shadow I despised. Once, he was the man who charmed me with quiet confidence, who pressed his hand over mine at dinner tables, who promised loyalty so fiercely I believed him. We built a home, a life, routines that felt safe. I gave him trust as though it were oxygen, something unquestionable, something essential. Looking back, that was my first mistake. Discovery of betrayal. The cracks began small. A late night at work, a phone he guarded like a soldier guarding classified files, a cologne I didn't recognize lingering when he came home. At first, I dismissed it. Love trains you to explain away what gnaws at your gut. But then came the silence. Not the peaceful kind, the suspicious kind. His laugh stopped reaching me. His eyes looked past me. The final proof came in the form of a receipt I found in his jacket pocket. 2 first-class tickets to Paris, 1 month from now, both under his name and hers. A woman I'd never met, but whose perfume I could suddenly smell everywhere. That was the night my grief burned into something sharper. Not tears, not pleas, a plan. Shift in mindset. I did not confront him, not yet. He thought I was naive, blind. He mistook my silence for weakness. But silence is a weapon if you know how to use it. I began to study him like a puzzle. His habits, his passwords, his financials. It wasn't difficult. Arrogance makes men sloppy. Within days, I had access to his accounts. I discovered transfers, money hidden in places he thought I'd never check. He was preparing a life without me. So I prepared too. I contacted a lawyer, I secured evidence. Every text, every email, every receipt. My sister's confirmation was the final nail. I would not scream. I would not cry. I would dismantle him piece by piece, and he would never see it coming. Execution of the plan. First, the house. It was in my name, though he never paid attention to paperwork. I moved quietly, transferring assets, protecting myself. He wouldn't notice, not until it was too late. Second, the accounts. With every fraudulent move he made, I documented it. My lawyer smiled at the pile of evidence. "This," she said, "is airtight." Third, the stage. I let him believe in the illusion of control. I cooked his dinners, I kissed his cheek, I listened when he lied about business trips, all while I knew the walls around him were crumbling. By the time he stepped onto that plane with her, his future was already gone. He just didn't know it. Climax and confrontation. When my sister whispered those words, I felt the final lock click into place. And then the front door opened. I turned. There he was, my husband, standing in the doorway, looking at me like nothing was wrong. A second version of him. A man who had just boarded a flight to Paris, yet stood in my home. My chest tightened. Then I saw it. The wrinkle in his shirt, the faint scar above his lip. My sister wasn't mistaken, but neither was I. Twins. The womanizer on the flight wasn't my husband. It was his brother, the one he never spoke about, the one estranged from the family, the one who looked just like him. But here's the twist. It didn't matter, because betrayal isn't always about bodies. It's about secrets. And my husband had lied to me for years, not about women, but about who he was. He had hidden a whole brother, a whole life from me. "Who was on that plane?" I asked, voice steady. His face paled. He realized I knew. About the money, about the brother, about the tickets. I watched him crumble. The bravado drained, the excuses stumbled. And when I laid the evidence on the table, bank statements, emails, my sister's eyewitness, he understood. He had nothing left. No money, no marriage, no safety net. I didn't need to scream. I didn't need to strike. I simply signed the papers I had already prepared. "You built your future on lies," I whispered, and I just burned it down. Resolution and emotional release. In the weeks that followed, I watched the man I once loved disintegrate. He begged. He threatened. He tried to claw back pieces of the life I had already taken from him. But it was useless. I had moved too carefully, too completely. I didn't just take revenge. I took control. The day the divorce was finalized, I sat by the window, the sunlight warm on my skin. For the first time in years, I breathed without the weight of suspicion pressing on my chest. Some betrayals come wrapped in love, some in lies. His came in both. But in the end, it was me who chose how the story ended. And as I signed,